Nothing has brought me greater joy than watching the Walt Disney Company absolutely panic over the last few weeks. They're mad at South Park because they're making fun of their woke ideologies, constantly race swapping or religion swapping everything in their movies.
Can a Disney princess survive the savage satire of South Park? Rachel Zegler thought she was stepping into a fairy tale when she signed on for Disney's live-action Snow White remake, but in 2025, her dream role turned into a viral nightmare. From casting backlash to fiery political posts, Zegler became the center of a cultural firestorm, and when South Park's upcoming DEI special took aim, it didn't just mock her, it lit a match that burned Disney's plans to the ground. Here's the untold story of how one actress, one movie, and one brutal parody shook Hollywood to its core.
And this started with the movie star Rachel Zegler, who I believe would be categorized as a loudmouth dope.
In addition to that, there was already an uproar about her being cast as Snow White because she is not Caucasian, she is a Latina, she is half Colombian, and so people were like, why were you cast in the first place? We just had a black Little Mermaid, now we're having a Latina Snow White, and she is literally called Snow White. This doesn't make sense. Yeah, the entire film's about a love story. It's about a love story because that's what the point of the film is, and I'm sorry that chivalry in a man pursuing you is now deemed as stalking, which now it's kind of making sense why men are opting out of the dating scene. As an actor, you don't get to dictate anything. You don't get to dictate if a film actually happens. You don't get to dictate when it is shot, how it is shot, if you can ever speak about it to the public. You are simply just there to show up and say your lines and look the way they want you to look.
Rachel Zegler was a star on the rise. At just 20, her breakout role as Maria in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story earned her a Golden Globe and whispers of a limitless future. Disney saw her as the perfect Snow White for a new generation, a bold, charismatic Latina actress who could breathe fresh life into a classic fairy tale. When they announced her casting in 2021, the press glowed with praise, calling it a visionary move. Zegler herself gushed about the honor, saying she hoped to inspire girls everywhere. Industry insiders bet big on the remake, expecting a blend of nostalgia and modern flair to dominate the box office. But that fairy tale dream turned sour faster than anyone expected.
The last time I had the dream, I was walking down the school hallway, and that's when I started to notice that something's wrong. Everyone I cared about has been systematically replaced. And finally, I want to scream, and I'm like, why are they replacing every single character with someone who is diverse?
The backlash started almost immediately. Fans of the 1937 Snow White, Disney's first animated masterpiece, weren't thrilled about a Latina actress playing a character literally named for her pale skin. Social media erupted with debates. Snow White's supposed to be white, some argued, while others defended Zegler's talent over tradition. YouTube comment sections became battlegrounds, with critics questioning why Disney would cast someone who didn't match the source material. The casting choice sparked a fire that refused to die down, trending on X for days, and then Zegler opened her mouth, and things got worse.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. I watched it for the first time in probably 17 years.
One major development going on now involves more to do with Rachel Zegler and her attitude towards South Park Studios and Paramount after learning about what they are planning for their upcoming special called the DEI Special.
In a string of interviews, Zegler didn't just distance herself from the original Snow White, she trashed it. She called the 1937 film weird and outdated, slamming the prince as a stalker and saying Snow White's dreams of love were irrelevant. She's not waiting for a prince, Zegler declared. She's dreaming of becoming a leader. Fans who cherished the classic felt slapped in the face. To them, Zegler wasn't updating a story. She was dismissing a beloved piece of history. Clips of her comments went viral, racking up millions of views and fueling outrage. X users posted side-by-side comparisons of the original's charm and Zegler's critiques, asking why she'd take a role she seemed to hate. But her words were just the beginning of the storm.
Even if everything worked perfectly, it would have been almost impossible for this movie to succeed, because you're comparing it to one of the most beloved films of all time and a truly groundbreaking movie.
Things took a darker turn when Zegler waded into politics. In August 2023, right after sharing the Snow White trailer on X, she tweeted, "And always remember, free Palestine." The post, part of a thread promoting the film, sent shockwaves through Disney. Her co-star Gal Gadot, an Israeli actress and former IDF instructor, reportedly faced a surge in death threats, forcing Disney to beef up her security. Zegler's later rants against Donald Trump and his supporters didn't help, with one post saying, "This country is deeply diseased." According to Variety, producer Mark Platt flew to New York to confront her, urging her to delete the posts. Zegler refused, standing her ground. The studio was in panic mode and the internet was eating it up. Enter South Park, ready to turn this drama into comedy gold.
On the original production, I was scared of it. Oh, it was so weird. It was a stalker. Like, I feel like if you are taking on the most iconic Disney role ever, genuinely, like this was the most prolific Disney film, I feel like you should kind of have some sort of reverence for the original production.
South Park's creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone are no strangers to shredding pop culture. Their upcoming DEI special, a sequel to the infamous Panderverse episode, set its sights on Disney's Snow White mess. Airing in 2025, the episode features a caricature of Zegler that's equal parts hilarious and ruthless. In the parody, she storms onto sets, hijacking scenes with preachy rants about toxic nostalgia and rewriting the fairy tale to push modern salvation through progress. She scoffs at the original Snow White as trash, cuts off co-stars, and declares herself the only one brave enough to fix Disney's outdated ways. The brilliance? Every line echoes Zegler's real interviews, exaggerated just enough to sting. Within hours, clips flooded X, with fans posting side-by-side comparisons that showed how eerily close the satire was to reality. The internet exploded, but Zegler's reaction was even wilder.
You don't particularly see people who, look like me or are me playing roles like that. So it was definitely when it got announced.
He wasn't a stalker, by the way.
Thing that was like trending on Twitter for days because all of the people were angry.
Sources close to Zegler say she was livid. The parody didn't just mock her role. It felt like a personal attack on her identity as a woman of color pushing for change in Hollywood. To her, South Park wasn't poking fun at a movie. It was trivializing her fight for diversity and progress, reducing her passion to a punchline. She reportedly wanted to fire back with a public statement, but Disney had other plans. Execs swooped in, holding emergency meetings to contain the fallout. Their solution? Silence Zegler completely. No tweets, no interviews, no red carpets. They canceled her talk show appearances, scrapped a rumored SNL performance, and blamed it on scheduling conflicts. Insiders say Disney feared any response would ignite another wave of backlash, dragging the studio deeper into the mess. But behind closed doors, things were falling apart.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by
you
the
wrote
prince.
it?
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her.
Say it louder so your other eye can hear you.
Whispers of legal trouble started swirling. Zegler's team reportedly felt Disney betrayed her, accusing the studio of breaching her contract by sidelining her from promised promotional events. Legal advisors began digging into the fine print, exploring if Disney's actions violated terms guaranteeing her media visibility. No lawsuit was filed, but the threat alone highlighted how fractured their relationship had become. Meanwhile, rumors of on-set drama with Gadot added fuel to the fire. Sources claimed the two hadn't spoken in weeks, with entire scenes scrapped due to tension. X-users turned it all into memes, with one viral post joking, Snow White versus Evil Queen, but the real fight's in the trailer. The chaos wasn't just about Zegler, it was a symptom of Disney's bigger crisis.
And that is why we hate the diversity, equity, and inclusion casting and writing in movies.
Disney was already on shaky ground. Marvel's recent flops like Ant-Man 3's dismal box office had fans grumbling about superhero fatigue. The Daredevil series faced costly reshoots, with leaked rewrites sparking outrage. Disney Plus was bleeding subscribers, with complaints about woke content and stale stories piling up. Snow White's failure, projected to lose $115 million, became the poster child for everything going wrong. Bob Iger, back as CEO, faced daily PR nightmares, with insiders reporting frantic meetings to salvage the film. Some whispered about reshoots or cuts, but South Park's parody made the movie a laughingstock, amplifying every misstep. So can Snow White or Zegler recover from this mess?
Our rights are on the line, folks.
Bitch! The right to buy Cosby sweaters?
Come on.
That's the face
Go
of a
vote blue.
serial killer.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button.
The controversy has turned Zegler into a lightning rod for a bigger cultural clash. Supporters argue she's fighting for a new kind of storytelling, challenging fairy tale tropes that glorify passive princesses. Critics call her arrogant, accusing her of disrespecting a classic and then playing the victim. X posts reflect the divide. One user wrote, "Rachel's just speaking her truth," while another snapped, "She trashed a legend and got what she deserved." South Park's satire struck a nerve because it tapped into this tension: tradition versus progress, nostalgia versus change. Whether you laugh or cringe, the parody forced everyone to pick a side. But the story isn't over yet. Rachel Zegler's Snow White saga is far from its final chapter. Can she bounce back, maybe with a passion project like her upcoming Evita role at the London Palladium? Or will South Park's next jab, rumored to target Bob Iger himself, bury her and Disney deeper? This isn't just about one actress or one flop, it's about what happens when a billion-dollar brand loses its magic, caught between fans who crave the past and a world demanding something new. What do you think? Can Zegler rewrite her story? Or is this the end of her fairy tale? Drop your thoughts below and subscribe for more Hollywood chaos, because trust me, South Park's not done shaking things up.